In this video, we'll show you how to do a function check on a Santa Fe Compact 2 dehumidifier. For the function test, you'll need a hygrometer or a relative humidity meter. This one here is a very expensive one, but a small cheap one will work just fine. To perform the function check, we want to start the unit out in an off position. To do that, we have the humidity control here. We want to turn that counterclockwise to the off position. On this model, it'll kind of end up, if you think of the hands of a clock, maybe the 1 or 2 o'clock position. The the fan switch we want in the auto position. If you still have the unit plugged in, the unit should not be running, so no air coming out. You shouldn't hear any noises coming from it. The next step would be to remove the filter, and that's just so we can see the coil behind here. Later on, we want to see this get cold. The next step would be, if you have a hygrometer, we kind of have a little bit higher model here, but any of the little small ones that you can buy at any local hardware store will work. We want to make sure that the temperature is above 55 degrees. The warmer the better for dehumidifiers. If it's below 55 degrees, the unit won't work, this test won't work. And then also the humidity, we want to make sure that is in a we want to make sure it's not too low. If it's below 40%, generally the dehumidifier won't make water. So we just want to make sure it's in the right conditions to run. So after we've verified that, we want to make sure the unit's plugged in. We have a little outlet here. I've verified that we do have power here, but it's kind of deceptive sometimes. Your circuit breaker could be tripped, but if you have like a corded drill, a lamp, a light bulb, something you can plug in here that you can make sure that you have power, just to verify that we do have power at your outlet. Is a good function test of the power. So we'll just go ahead and plug it in at this point. Obviously, the unit didn't turn on because we have the unit in the off position at this point. So to do the function check, we're going to turn the unit on in a certain fashion, and that'll check every part of the unit. We're basically going to be listening for noises and sounds or whatnot to make sure basically the blower and the compressor are working correctly. To verify that the blower runs, we're just going to push the top of the fan switch into on, and then we should hear the blower turn on and run. I don't know if you hear this on the video, but it did turn on and run. You should feel some air coming out of the back here. That'll let us know that the fan's running just fine. We want to keep that on, and then we're going to listen for the compressor to come on. We should hear a slight hum or vibration when that comes on. So when we turn the humidity control here clockwise, we should hear that slight hum or vibration. In this case, we did. A lot of times keeping your hand on the unit, you can feel that vibration a little bit better. That lets us know the compressor's working, so that's a good thing. If your blower didn't come on or your compressor didn't come on with those tests or whatnot, that would denote a problem. The next step would be to let the unit run like this for about 5 minutes or so, 10 minutes, and then you should notice this black coil here should start to get colder and colder. Might even get some moisture or frost on it. So you can kind of put your hand on it now, and then after about 5 minutes, you'll notice that it actually got colder. Okay, it's been about 10 minutes of the unit running. We can actually feel the coil here. It actually is getting cold. One other test that you can do is if you have your hygrometer, you can test the air temperature going in, the air temperature going out. Generally, that'll be about a 10 to 25 degree temperature rise. That'll let us know, that's a good indicator that the unit's working correctly. The higher the temperature and higher humidity going into the unit, that higher the temperature rise coming out of the back will be. Now, if the coil didn't get cold, that would designate a refrigeration issue. If you had any problems with this test or the blower or the compressor turning on test, just give our tech service department a call and we should be able to help. Okay, after you've completed the function test, if everything was okay but you still think there's a problem, the next best step would be to do a performance test. And what that means is if we can collect the amount of water that the dehumidifier pulls out in a certain time period, and we know the temperature and humidity going in, we can know if the unit is pulling the correct amount of water, so performance-wise. So to do that, What we would need is some kind of a bucket or receptacle. The unit might have to be elevated or whatnot. You can use, we have a nice little bucket with graduated cylinders on here. A 5-gallon bucket works, or even one of those plastic tote bins kind of work pretty well. We just need to be able to measure the water. Gallons, pints, it doesn't matter. We just need to know how much it is. So basically to set that up, what you want to do is in this particular model, we want to elevate it. You know, our receptacle is pretty tall, taller than the unit, so we'll put it on a table. We'll connect the hose to the unit, and then we'll put that hose into the bucket. Now, the thing here is you don't want that end of that hose to get below the water, so you may have to cut your hose or just kind of maybe use some zip ties or whatnot to make sure the hose kind of stays on top of the bucket. The water, you want the water to drain out of the end of the hose into the bucket. Generally 5 gallons is enough for a 24-hour period, especially for a smaller unit like this. So that water is set up. And then at that point, you want to make sure you have the unit plugged into a good power source. And then we want to make sure the unit runs 24/7. We want to run it all the time. So we have the control knob here. We'll just turn that clockwise all the way to the on position, so the unit will run 24/7. Then at that point, the longer the runtime, the better. Generally, we like to see 24 hours. But we have a hygrometer here. What we'll also need to know is the temperature and humidity going into the unit. If we know the temperature and humidity and the water coming out, we can tell you if that's in the correct performance range. So I would take a temperature and humidity reading when you first turn it on. I'd probably take one at maybe 6-hour increments, 12-hour increments, something like that, but a humidity in the middle of the run, and then another humidity reading at the end of the run. If the dehumidifier is working, it might bring down the humidity or whatnot, so we'll kind of skew the test a little bit. So we just want to know what the humidity is going in, how much water is produced. If you can get those calculations, call our tech service department. We should be able to let you know if that's in the proper performance range. Depending on that, it may denote a problem or may tell us that the unit's okay, might have another issue. So again, if you have any questions, give our tech service department a call.